lost to ignorance and confusion, 3 men arose from humble beginnings with a message of wisdom and hope for their troubled times. 3 men who would eventually change the very face of humanity.
But they were run over by a bus driven by a somewhat grouchy Keanu Reeves. So, here are some other guys.
It's Song Talk Radio with Bruce, Neil, and Phil.
And welcome to Song Talk Radio, episode number 259. This is the show with songwriters talking to other songwriters about the craft of songwriting. We share tips, tools, and techniques, and never toothbrushes, but together we all become better at writing songs. I didn't hear a wah wah. All right. I'm your host, Bruce Harrett, and joining me are the always entertaining members of the Song Talk Radio Action Team. It's we got the action figures coming out next
Working
year,
on it.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And they are Neil Modi.
Hey, how's it going, Bruce? And by the way, I use an electric toothbrush, so yeah, no sharing.
No sharing. And Phil Emery. How are you, Phil?
I just flew in from Barbados, and boy, are my arms ever tired.
No, you didn't. Bermuda. It's Bermuda.
Yeah, same thing.
Okay.
Same thing.
Not to Barbadians. Or Bajans, as they say.
Ask the Bajans if it's the same
Social
thing.
media tonight, we have Vanessa. She's in the other room. Hi, Vanessa.
Hello.
Oh, yeah, you can hear her in the background there.
Tweeting
and
away.
finally, right on my left, your right, on the technical board, it's Michael. Good evening, folks.
Hello.
Let's have a big hand for Michael. That's enough. During the show, send your comments, questions, and Easter egg decorating tips to @SongTalkRadio on Twitter or Facebook, or feedback at songtalk.ca, and we'll share them with the audience in real time. Not fake time. Real. And please stop by our website, songtalk.ca, to find out how you could be a guest on our show. Tonight, our guest is singer-songwriter Pete Eastmure. He grew up on a horse farm in the Blue Mountain region of Ontario. Pete hitchhiked. I haven't said that word in a long time. Let me try that again. Pete hitchhiked out to California at the age of 17 and began a musical journey that forever changed him. He honed his songwriting by exploring folk, pop, and jazz, but surprisingly, never screamcore or death metal. Or did you? Never. He's nodding no. As a recording artist, Pete has released 3 albums, Songs for MeZZ and Eastmure EP. His most recent album, Keep Your Love Steady, is an authentic, vintage journey to the heart of what matters most. Welcome, Pete Eastmure.
Hey, thanks for having me.
That's pretty well written, wasn't it? Yeah.
Very well spoken, too.
Oh, thank you. It's very kind of you. So, were you already writing songs before you hit the road at 17?
Yeah, actually, I think I wrote my first song when I was around 14.
And you had a guitar.
I had a guitar.
You wanted to be a Beatle?
No, I
Stone.
wanted to be more like Cat Stevens, Neil Young.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Folk rock.
Yeah, folk rock stuff, yeah.
Cool. So when you started on guitar, was that you took some lessons? Or?
I actually, I started when I was about living in Collingwood. We moved down from Wawa to Collingwood, and I took lessons from Mr. Allen, the postman in town. I walked from Pine Street up to Victory Drive, about a 20-minute walk with my cardboard guitar case, and knocked on the back door, and then you walk down the stairs. You go through a red curtain, and there is Mr. Allen with his big, beautiful
Gibson.
blonde, Gibson guitar. And he sold me, and we got this guitar Harmony Archtop for $50, I think it was. And I started lessons with him for about a year and a half. Yeah.
See, I had a guitar teacher who had a Gibson too, but my mom couldn't afford a very good guitar, so the action was about a couple inches of the strings, right? And I had these. I didn't have any. So one time, the guitar teacher let me play this Gibson, and it was like, oh, this is what a guitar is supposed to be like. Like it was so much easier to play.
I know. I went through a few guitars before. I think the harmony was actually quite nice.
The action was good?
I think so. But I mean, I went to what I thought looked like a Martin guitar that I bought for like $90 at the local music store. But it was like, it wasn't a Martin. It wasn't anything. And it was really hard to play, but I persevered. And,
So parents, get your kids a guitar where the action is decent. So if you kids at home don't know what action, that's the distance between the string and the fretboard. It has to be close, just close, so you can just tap down the string.
As long as it doesn't buzz, you're all right.
As long as it doesn't buzz. So did you start writing right away once you learned guitar, or were you doing covers?
I was doing covers. My dad was a big Johnny Cash fan, of course, so I think the first song I learned for him was I Walk the Line.
Oh.
Right, and I picked out the thing on the guitar, and we'd strum it, and my neighbor, Stephen Wagner, was also who lived one alleyway down from me, across from me. I could see his house from my window. He took lessons from Mr. Allen as well, and he had the next model up harmony guitar, and we would play together in his bedroom, I think, and that was pretty cool. And then Mrs. Wagner would cook us dinner. That's the most amazing cook, and make fresh like blueberry pie and stuff like that. They were like a family. His father worked in the shipyard, and you know, they treated me like gold. It was so nice.
A nice family.
Beautiful.
You didn't
family.
have a family at home? We won't.
That's
talk
another
about
story.
that. Okay. So
They were like, you
for
know,
me it
no
was-
speaking at the table, children should be seen and not heard.
Oh, yeah.
Actually was
Yeah.
their mantra.
Yeah, I had one of those too.
Okay.
But my best friend's mom made apple cake. And you never forget a good apple cake, do you?
No.
So when do you write your first song?
I think I wrote it in high school, I think, and it was called Broken Glass.
Oh.
And
It was about a girl?
14. Of course.
Oh,
Yeah,
of
of course, yes, yeah. But I actually remember this. My memory's pretty good. It's that I was walking from a friend's place to high school, and I saw this broken glass reflecting in the sun, and I just grabbed that limit, and I just thought broken glass, and then I went home and I wrote the song. It was very
Can you
personal.
sing a few bars?
I don't think so.
Okay.
We better not. I better save your audience. I mean, you still want to keep your license right after this.
Oh,
be
it's profane, is it?
No,
Oh,
but,
no.
you know, just
But then you kind of got hooked by the writing bug then? Somebody
well,
said, good song, buddy.
yeah. I was
dad.
always writing, and I wrote other stuff, and the only course I liked in high school was English. The rest I didn't care for too much. So
Yeah. Were you in a band in high school or just a solo player?
I was actually in a group called the Duntroon Duo, because then we moved to Duntroon outside of Collingwood with my brother, and we played John Prine songs and Valdy songs at the folk assembly, and our high school was a feeder for Creemore, Singhampton, Glen Huron, places outside of there. And so those 1,500 people in our high school. So you get them all in the gym stomping to along with a John Prine song, Frying Pan. And it was a pretty thrilling experience, you know. So we were the instant
I never
hits.
played for 1,500 people.
No.
And in high school?
I think there was 1,500 people in school, and they all jammed in there. And
That's great.
so I could have run for student council after that, but I didn't. It wasn't
So,
really.
when you've been writing songs ever since, like,
Yeah.
how are you doing? What are you doing to pick up your own skills at songwriting? You're just doing it, or
Over the years.
I think it's just persevering. I've always written songs and been very prolific. I've written about 800 or 900 songs, and I've released some of them on records, and some were, you know, you just play them in clubs and small bars. I've been one of these guys who's stubbornly always done my own songs and not so many covers, and so that gives you a certain limited scope unless you're like Bruce Springsteen or Neil Young and stuff.
yeah,
Right? But that never held me back, really. At an early age, I realized I could write some good songs, and I just kept going at it.
Yeah, I guess the other way to look at that question is, what are you doing differently now that you weren't doing 700 songs ago?
Not a
Or
lot,
vice versa,
really.
no?
Not a lot. I follow song cycles wherever they take me, whether it's a different part of the world that I'm living in at the time, or I've been to India a couple of times. I've played in India in small bars. Songs have come out of there. I've been in California. Whatever the cycle of songs. Like my last record was with the Eastmure. EP was with a 5-piece horn band, and it was more based on sort of the dap punk songs from New York type of style. And I was playing piano, electric piano, and guitar, my Gretsch White Falcon guitar. So
Wow.
yeah, yeah.
So when you mentioned how you fell in love with English as a subject, you write lyrics first, or you strum the guitar first?
They
You
usually
start
come together pretty well at the
same
same time.
Yeah.
I have a kind of a a lyric hook or a guitar hook. Mainly, it starts with an image usually, and I can find the melody pretty quickly because I always have melodies going on in my head all the time. I don't filter myself, and I never have, even though I've had to put on a mask when I do other things. But you know,
So Broken Glass was the first image you saw, and you said, I'm going to write a song about that.
that's quite true. Yeah.
Didn't Annie Lennox do a song called that?
Yeah.
Walking on
Yeah.
Broken
On
Glass.
the
Yeah, she-
Diva album, I think.
Yeah, I think that's
Quite a
true.
good one,
Yeah.
She ripped you off.
David Bowie had I Love the Sound of Breaking Glass.
Did he?
Okay.
Oh.
Lots of stuff. Yeah.
I have a little connection to Annie Lennox through Dave Stewart, her partner.
Oh yeah.
He was on the jury of, I don't know what you guys heard, but I just got honorable mention in American Songwriter magazine for this March, April issue
nice.
for best lyric for a song for their contest.
Nice.
And Dave
Congrats.
Stewart is on the jury, so there you go. So,
That's right.
small
Good
world.
for you.
Good for you. Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Where can people find that? Online?
They can find it. It's on the new record. Then they can see the, you know, the article online, and it's the song "Shirley Temple" that I actually wanted to hear. So
second one.
segues
So
into
you're going
that.
to hear that,
Okay,
folks,
great.
tonight,
That's
recorded
right.
version.
Hey, that was a nice segue, eh?
Yeah,
Look at that, eh?
yeah, but we're not going to do that one now.
We're gonna do the live one first.
We're going to do the live one.
Yeah,
So what's the first song that we're going to be doing?
we're gonna do
Bush.
Sugar Bush. Yeah.
Now, is this off the album?
Yes, it is.
Sorry, and what's the
And it's
name
the
of the
first.
album?
Keep Your Love
Keep Your Love
Steady.
Steady. Yeah.
Keep Your Love Steady.
Uh huh.
And what was the writing process with this?
Well, this one came right out of a dream. I woke up in the morning at 6:45 in the morning, and I had the whole chorus in my head right as I was waking up, and it was like, "I'm gonna sleep in a sugar bush, gonna sleep in a sugar bush, gonna sleep in a sugar bush tonight." I had the chorus, I had the melody, and it was just so insistent that I just got a pen and paper right next to me. I didn't even get out of bed, and I wrote it just straight through in about 10 minutes.
Well, you said, waking from a dream with you. Right off the top there.
Yeah, this was just how it came out.
It's cool.
So I didn't spend any time on this. And
Is that where you need the capo for this tune?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you in tune?
Yeah,
Why don't we hear the song?
more or less. You know, not it's
Close
not
enough
jazz.
for folk.
Not quite jazz yet.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
All right. So this is Sugar Bush with Pete Eastmure. I'll get it right eventually.
Waking from a dream with you, we were walking through the forest, river running past us like it had seen the last of us. In the dream it was dark, path right before us. We were far away from the kind of things that make people stay. Going to sleep in a sugar bush, gonna sleep in a sugar bush, gonna sleep in a sugar bush tonight. Heard the mournful sound of a train running through the dark, clickety-clack of the wheels as it rolled past the park. Knew they were homeward bound, the engineer keeping time, passengers all asleep, their cozy dreams in line. Gonna sleep in a sugar bush, gonna sleep in a sugar bush, gonna sleep in a sugar bush tonight, tonight, tonight. with you, but I couldn't see your face. It was dark, and I didn't know the place. But it didn't matter, it was alright. Bears and mountain lions, swaying pines between, the moon was tight. Gonna sleep in a sugar bush, gonna sleep in a sugar bush, gonna sleep in a sugar bush tonight, 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 tonight.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Wow, great.
Oh, I love that guitar picking. I don't hear enough of that.
Thank
It's
you.
gorgeous.
Thanks so much.
It really moves the tune along too.
Yeah.
It's got this sweetness to it that way, right?
Yeah, and
Just
we've got dobro and mandolin along with that.
on the album.
Oh,
Yeah, and
okay.
underneath
Yeah,
it
yeah.
is the current of, that's Bert Carroll on the dobro.
Okay.
Kyle
What's
Sharon on
what's a dobro?
the dobro's an instrument you play flat with a slide here in finger picking.
Oh,
It's a guitar pick.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And Kyle Sharon on mandolin, and our very great legendary friend Dennis Keldy on accordion, and James Paul on acoustic bass. So there you go. Those are all the guys.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
I love
And
that.
Eva Marie on background vocals.
Oh, okay.
Eva Marie McCann.
I really like it's funny. We were looking at the lyrics here in the studio, and it's actually got 6:45 a.m. on the 5th of November, 16.
Yeah, That's
So
where I wrote it. That night is significant too. Do you know what? You don't know what that night is, but that is the night that number 45 was elected president of the United States.
oh, that would be
The morning, that'd be the night before.
Donald.
Yeah.
The Donald. Okay.
So
That
was
fateful night.
that a late night writing or an early morning writing?
In the morning, so it would be
no,
the
like were you
morning
up all
after.
night writing, or were you just
No,
you
no, I
woke
just-
up and wrote this,
Yeah,
or
I
you
just woke up and wrote it.
cool?
So you didn't dream of Donald Trump. That would have been a nightmare. That would be more like a nightmare.
The mighty Cheeto.
Not that we talk about politics on our show or anything. No.
Do you actually find that? Do you have a thing where it's like your best songs come in the morning when you first wake up, or
They
is
come
it,
at all times.
Come at all times. No
I-
pattern to that.
No particular time of the day or night. I write songs in restaurants, and actually I wrote Shirley Temple, the next one, in a bar at in between a break between going to see my friend's place. So that was at 7:30 in the evening. So
Hence the Shirley Temple. You started thinking about drinks and
well.
people in the bar and all
Well, actually, the story goes, the lead singer came off the stage, a friend of mine, and I went to see her and Bert Carroll, the guy who actually produced my record, along with James Paul, the last time to hear them play. And she gets off the stage and she says, "I need a pretend drink." And Bert turns to her and says, "Why don't you try a Shirley Temple?" And I was right there in the circle talking to myself. I'm going to write that song right now. So I went back to my bar stool, and I wrote that song right there in another one in 5 or 10 minutes. And I showed it to them on my phone afterwards. It's probably still on my phone here. And
So sometimes
and then
they
it
arrive
won the
quickly.
American Songwriter Lyric Contest
Oh, really?
this month.
Yeah, there you go.
good one. So
You
did you
never know.
ever take a long time to write a song?
Not usually.
No, they're usually pretty quick, eh?
Do you rewrite?
I do some editing, like over 2 or 3 days usually. I can usually tell right away if it's going to be a keeper or not.
If it's right or not, yeah.
So you write the lyrics down in the bar, then you go home, pick up your guitar, and find some chords to go with it?
Yeah, but I have a feel, and I have because I have such a familiarity with the guitar. I knew exactly what the vibe was and the pacing of it and all
And the
that
key.
thing. Pretty well the key, yeah.
Yeah.
That just depends on how the words come out, because so so I found it.
Yeah, I really love this song. Is almost like a lullaby.
It is.
It's very much with the consistent chord pattern, the consistent guitar picking.
Yeah.
Even the melody between the verse and the chorus the melody doesn't like kick up like really high in the chorus. It's very kind of soothing, and it's a beautiful
It flows
vibe,
along,
and it flows really really nicely.
We did a video of it too, not
Right.
the thing, but it goes
Yeah.
by the river, and we did it up in Collingwood. Check that out if you like on YouTube.
It's almost
Definitely.
like the sap flowing from
Yeah.
a sugar bush.
Wow.
Yeah, and the rhythms of each line into each line is very consistent.
Yeah.
Right. So there's nothing in there that's gonna like throw you
Jump out at you.
jump
Yeah.
out, and
No,
there's no
you-
bridge.
Yeah.
There's nothing in there that's gonna throw you out of that
It's
zone.
like a classical folk song in the sense
Yeah.
of verse, chorus,
Verse.
verse, chorus, verse, chorus.
Yep.
And I really liked your use of visuals and sounds. They knew they were homeward bound. I heard the mournful sound of a train running through the dark, clickety-clack, which is an onomatopoeia, right? Clickety-clack of the wheels as it rolled past the park. I like the specificity of that it's your town. You know exactly where the train is when it goes by the park.
It's a very specific place,
Yeah.
which I'll tell you where it's from. We've been camping up in Perry Sound on this little peninsula for the past 30 years or so. And if you've camped there in the provincial park, the train goes by there late at night all the time. And so to me, it's very soothing and very ritualized.
But
So-
it's also very open to anybody who's lived near a train track. I mean, I have.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
it definitely
People
open
can
enough
relate
anybody.
to that.
Oh, definitely people can relate to
Yeah.
that for sure.
Yeah, it's a very gentle song. Certainly not a lot of variance. Your chorus is basically the same all the way through. Did you play around with maybe sort of changing the chorus? Are you gonna sleep in a sugar bush? Those repeated lines all the way through. Did you ever
Yeah.
think about sort of exploring those, or?
It was more like a mantra. It's
Oh,
like
okay.
I saw, so it's something to be repeated, and it's like the image of the dream. Gonna sleep in a sugar bush. Gonna sleep in a
Yeah,
sugar.
it's kind of like trance music in
Yes,
a
a
way,
little bit,
right?
a little
Like
bit.
it's half awake, half asleep.
Well,
which
it
is
came
what you were,
exactly
right?
and then from that state, really. So you don't want to mess with that, really.
Right.
At least
Okay.
that's the way I look at it, anyway.
So you didn't want, in the chorus, like Neil was saying, you didn't want to jolt people out of the lilting, flowing feel.
I
You
don't
wanted
think
to
so.
continue
Yeah,
with that.
because when I thought about recording it, I had very specific sounds in mind. The dobro, which I brought Burke into my living room, and I showed him the song, and I just played it like I did here. And I said, "I hear you playing dobro on this," and he nodded his head. And then my cousin Kyle Cerrone, who's a fantastic fiddler, I saw it as a very open sounding, so that the guitar picking and the dobro and the mandolin all play off each other, like finish each other's lines. When one person stops, the other one. So there's a bit of a momentum, and it's like a train as well. It's like it just keeps going long, keep going, and then the acoustic bass comes in, and so it really builds, even though it appears as maybe neutral on the surface. It actually builds really beautifully. And then, I had the image of the accordion going underneath it, like actually the river going by. Like it talks in there about on the first verse,
The river running.
we were
past
far
us.
away from kind of things that make you stay. I think the river running past us, like it had seen the last of us. I
Those
love
are-
that image.
Those three instruments are quite similar, so you wouldn't want them competing, right?
No, they're like I was
They have
saying,
to cooperate.
they're playing
They're having a
in harmony
conversation.
with each other. They're having a conversation, exactly.
And they're not talking over each other like we do here.
Well, why not?
Yeah.
So I'm curious what the image of the sugar bush is. I've never heard that.
A sugar
That
bush
phrase
is
or
a
that
Canadian maple leaf forest, really, maple trees.
Oh, okay.
And that they also make
Maple syrup.
maple syrup out of those trees. That's where our
Have
maple
you ever
syrup.
been up
Sugar
where they're
maple.
doing the sugar maple? Where
Yeah,
they do the
yeah,
sap
okay.
run off and they throw the stuff on the snow and
Yeah,
and eat it?
for sure.
the toffee or whatever.
Yeah.
Black Creek Pioneer Village.
Yeah. So this was it written in the spring when the sap was running, or was
It was actually written, I believe the date was
November.
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 Right.
Yeah.
So it's cold. This is that the time of the sugar bush?
That's when the dream came to me.
Yeah.
I don't know much about going to watch them do that thing. That's in the spring.
It is in the spring,
have you
yeah,
guys-
because the temperature
March,
warms up and the sap releases from the tree,
Yeah.
and then they put a tap in it and they do that. My cousin does that.
Have you guys, Phil and Bruce, have you ever written something based on a dream?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. A couple of times I've woken up and had a song on my head.
Yeah.
I mean, I always start off with the music anyways, so it's...
Yeah.
Most of my songs, when I first started writing for Sirius, I was following the path of the artist's way.
Yeah.
So she suggested this thing called the morning pages.
Yeah.
So you get up, go to the bathroom, go directly to your journal, and you write down every single thing that comes to your mind. It's basically the dreams, your thoughts, everything. And what happened for this magical period of time for about 2 months, 3 months, is every time I sat down, an entire song would come out. Verse, chorus, bridge. The chords would be in my head. I'd have the guitar there, and by the time, in about an hour, I'd have recorded this thing on my little Iowa auto reverse, And so it did come out of that. What her theory is, this is a woman who wrote this book called The Artist's Way, right?
I've heard of it. Yeah.
I can't remember her name at the moment.
Julia something?
Who?
Julia something?
Julia, yeah. Julia something. Anyway, we'll figure it out
Halfway
later.
there.
But anyway, her
It's on our
theory
resources
is-
page.
Her theory is
It
you want
is.
to catch, is it called limerence? That part between waking and sleeping and waking. There's a magic moment there, and she says you get to your creativity before the critic wakes up. Because
Yeah, I
when the
think that's
critic
very
wakes
true,
up, yeah, that's right. The Artist's Way: A Spiritual Path to Higher Creativity by Julia Cameron.
That's what I said.
And they're all right. Good for you. Well, the thing is, there are Artist's Way groups in Toronto. Just go on Meetup.
Right, yeah,
They
for
meet
sure,
every
yeah.
week or every month, and they do this. But anyway, I thought her theory.
They all
was
take a
right.
nap together and wake up and do their
That's
pages?
right.
Her theory was really true. That you have to write without the critic
Yeah.
alive in your head. Like you say to the critic, you go for a walk and you can edit. That's the critic's job, is to edit, right? You can edit later, but for now, you stay out of it. We're going to spill this
Spill
whole
the flow,
song
yeah.
imperfectly, right? And it was a really special time for me because, and I liked that writing in the morning.
Well, you can it's obvious, but you can take that, you can banish the critic forever, which I've done actually
Good.
for years ago, especially this last 10 years when I've just been focusing on music again entirely. And I would just write and do anything that I could. I taught myself piano when I was 50, and I wrote about 40 songs on the piano, and some of them went on the last record. But I want to get away from that. I want to talk about just the writing. Is that you just keep writing. Don't worry about critics.
Especially the
Speak
internal
whatever's
one.
in your mind.
So speaking of critics, this is nothing. That is not even a segue. But we have a special.
It is now.
We have a special message from somebody.
For those of you just joining us, you're listening to Song Talk Radio. We're streaming on songtalk.ca, and tonight our guest is Pete Eastmure. Don't forget, we love to hear from you, so tweet in your thoughts to us at Song Talk Radio or via email, feedback@songtalk.ca. We'll share your thoughts here on the show. And you can find links to all the products, books, and web services we mentioned on the show. We already mentioned one book tonight on our resources page at songtalk.ca. Coming up on Song Talk Radio in the coming weeks, March 18th, it's the Blair Packham Show.
Blair Packham Show.
That'll be
Starring Blair Packham.
it'll be super educational and entertaining.
Can I be the wacky neighbor on that?
You can be the wacky
Good.
neighbor. You have
You
to
can
wear
be
a
the-
you have to wear a funny sweater.
You're actually the host. But Blair was with the Jitters for many years.
Yes.
You might know him from that. He also teaches at Humber. And he runs Song
Studio.
Studio every summer with a couple of buddies over at the
Royal Conservatory.
Yeah, the Royal Conservatory. I took it one year. It was really good. It's a summer school for
Everyone I know
songwriters.
who's done that has loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've done it
Song
myself.
Studio.
People come from Britain, actually.
Yeah.
People come from
Every
far and
year.
wide.
And on March 25th, it's the return of Moscow Apartment with
they're
Bridget
great.
Fry and Pascal Padilla.
They're
Yeah,
wonderful.
they're just
Teenagers, these
great.
guys, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, they're in their 20s.
They're in their 20s
But
now?
check them out. Especially the song Orange is really good.
Yeah.
They are in high school.
They're in high school.
Oh, are they still?
Yeah.
They're still in high
They're
school,
still in high school.
apparently.
They were 3 years ago, and now they are.
And it made me so happy.
Oh.
And if you're in the Toronto area, please join us. Our next Songwriters Meetup is on Sunday, March the 24th from 1 to 4 p.m. at the Transat Club. That's in the Annex area of Toronto. It's free to join and free to attend. Stop by songtalk.ca for the link. And Phil's got a little jokey.
Yeah, I do. Okay, here's our definition for
Definition.
brain. A large human organ that controls thought and reason, distinguishes man from lower animals and musicians from the rest of mankind. In accordance with the principles of Darwin's theory of natural selection and evolution, the cranial space normally reserved for the brain is, in musicians, given over to lung capacity so they can have quite literally blown their brains out. In singers, the absence of the brain matter leaves extra room for resonance. Science has been unable to discover whether conductors have been provided with any sort of replacement for the missing brain, but that is highly unlikely.
Oh, no.
Oh, it's so mean.
It's kind of funny, though.
It's Canadian, though.
It's true.
It's a Canadian book.
Nice
That's
joke.
that's the brainiest joke we've ever heard.
Hey.
And they
Really?
didn't mention drummers, which is, different.
No,
That's
that book just rags on singers the whole time.
Yeah, it's true.
I think it's a class. I
Well,
think
it
their
is
background is
song talk.
classical.
Oh, it is classical music.
Yeah.
The
Oh, right.
writers
Song.
of
Well,
that.
and there's lots of drummer jokes.
Oh,
Yeah.
How do you know there's a drummer at your door? Because the knocking speeds up.
Oh, boy. So speaking of knocking, I think it's time to talk about that other song that we were already talking about. This is called
Rewind and repeat.
Shirley Temple. So you're sitting in a bar, and the first two lines of the song are, "I need a pretend drink. Why don't you try a Shirley Temple?" So you just took the dialogue that you heard, which is a
Right
good
out
start.
of the air, you know?
Right out of the air. And I need a pretend man. Why don't you try a Manhattan? So this is going to become a whole thing about drinking and pretending.
Yes, exactly.
And Shirley Temple. And then a whole bunch of things
And it's
like...
a duet, so it's people.
Ah.
It's like a call and answer.
Oh, right, right.
That's why on the record, Eva Marie sings the first line, and I respond with the next one.
Looks like a fairly short song. Is it?
Yeah, it's goes back to my the structure of Hank Williams and the Drifting Cowboys, which is what I was trying to get back to with this latest record, which I think we did pretty well.
Back to
Very straight ahead.
simple things. Is there anything you want our listeners to notice in this? Is it the interplay between the stringed instruments, perhaps?
I think you should just hear it.
Would you like them to enjoy it? Why not?
Why not?
All right, let's hear Shirley Temple by Pete Eastmure.
I need a pretend drink.
Why don't you try a Shirley Temple?
I need a pretend man.
Why don't you try a Manhattan?
Shirley Temple is a little girl's drink.
Manhattan, just another name for a hat rack. Why don't we all stop pretending that we're not pretending?
Wish the world was spinning slower.
Maybe I'd see things a little better.
Maybe I'd stop drinking.
And I'd stop pretending that you're ever coming back. That our love's not a thing of the past, and we're past pretending. Better be here than be square. Better try and be a better man than someone who doesn't care. You have your Shirley Temple. I'll sit at the bar while you drink your pretend drink. I'll pretend that you really care.
Pretend drink.
Why don't you try a Shirley Temple?
I need a pretend man.
Why don't you try a Manhattan?
Shirley Temple is a little girl's drink.
Manhattan, just another name for a hat rack. Why don't we all stop pretending that we're not pretending? Better be here than be square. Better try and be a better man for someone who doesn't care. You have your Shirley Temple. I'll sit at the bar while you drink your pretend drink. I'll pretend that you really care.
Well, that was Shirley Temple. Round of applause for Pete Eastmure.
Cool song.
He sang there, and who was the young lady?
Eva Marie McCann.
Eva Marie McCann. She sounded lovely. So that was a little bit. What's that song they got all excited about? You Better Go Home. I think it's
Cold
a slate.
Outside, Baby, It's
Cold Outside. You know that one? Talking back and forth. I thought it was really charming.
It is a charming,
it's
cute
a charm song.
Yeah, it is a charm song.
And
people love it when we play it live. Yeah.
Oh, does she always sing with you when you're live then?
Yeah.
Okay. She's a background singer and
she's my partner in life as well.
Oh,
and so
nice.
we're together and we do everything.
Keep her employed. Keep her
Yeah. Keep her out of trouble, or she keeps me out of trouble or something. Or we create trouble together.
That's always the best way.
That's
going to create
wonderful.
trouble. He himself a partner.
Yeah, James Taylor does that. He takes his most recent wife with him. She
Most
sings in
recent?
the chorus. Well, he's had a couple. It was Carly and. But I saw him in concert, and he said, "Oh, it's my wife over there singing backup vocals."
Nice.
I think that's the way to keep your marriage going, don't you think?
Absolutely,
O'Neill?
yes.
Don't ever leave them alone.
Except on Tuesday nights when I come here.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's true. Yes.
you don't know what your wife's doing.
I don't know what
But
she's
it's
up
fine.
to. I'm guessing Netflix.
Anyway,
Okay.
this was
Yeah.
fun because it just kept rolling along. And it reminded me of Dolly Parton. I don't know, the fun of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. We saw Dolly last summer. One of the best concerts I've ever been to. She is just an amazing talent, amazing person. She started off with just a guitar and maybe a background guitarist or a fiddle player. Then she brought in a whole band that she's had with her for the last 20 years. And it was fantastic. And she talked in between songs about her parents and growing up in the country. And so
She's
really,
sweet, isn't
I
she?
honor that.
Yeah.
I take that as a huge compliment.
Yeah,
Thank you.
It felt like, who's the guy that she used to sing with when she started out?
Porter Wagner.
Yeah,
Right.
Porter. They were married, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it sounded like it might
Grand
be
Ole Opry.
a Dolly Porter song. Dolly and Porter.
Well,
right?
it's getting. It
Feeling
went.
that,
It
yeah.
went back to the old days of the duets, the old straight ahead country
40s.
duets, and people love it.
Yeah,
and we're going to
that's
do another
charming.
one maybe on the next record. So.
Oh, that's great.
Very cool. Yeah, it's got this kind of it's clever, right? Like it's cute and it's fun. I'm gonna call out the elephant in the room. How come after the chorus the verse is the same lyric?
Just
Again.
because it's like don't bore us, get to the chorus type of frame of songwriting. It just meant going back to the. I said all I needed to say really in the thing. So really, and it's just a matter of getting back to the hook. Basically, I need a pretend drink. So that's why I did
So
that.
is this an exception, like you would normally not repeat a verse, or it just depends on the song?
Most times I don't. It usually there is maybe a resolution of some sort of what you're thinking of. But
Yeah, like maybe
Or furthering the plot.
Furthering the plot,
yeah.
Especially for something that's cute and clever, like you want to kind of see where the
Yeah.
story maybe goes.
Right,
you know?
right. Yeah, I think it all really just got said in the first two verses. And if you look at a lot of classic songwriting, there's two verses and a chorus.
And they come back and they repeat.
And
the
they
first verse.
repeat. And people love the repeat because it's just fun to hear it again, right? So
Yeah, it's not wrong. I was
nothing's
thinking in
wrong.
this song, well, we always say what we say we have this thing called Songwriters Meetup. People come in and they perform and we give feedback. So what we say is if I was going to rewrite this song with you, if you let me, I think I would go to bridge. After the chorus, I'd go to a bridge section, and I can hear it even in my mind, our little step aside, where she says something and you say something, but it's, I love that when there's a bridge section that kind of comments on the bigger picture of the whole song, or gets more philosophical, and then back to the specific again.
Yeah.
But it didn't need it.
It didn't need it, and also as our friend said, I'm not trying to be, but it's a very clever song as well from the wordplay, and there's so much in there that it sinks in a little better when you're talking about pretending. I'm not pretending to be pretending. I think that's a classic line. What's he really saying there? Really?
Yeah, I actually love that line. Why don't we all stop pretending that we're not pretending? I love the way
That
it
is-
sort of falls in on.
It's
on
actually-
itself. It sort of turns it on.
If I don't mind myself saying it, it's a bit profound.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
You have to think about it though.
Yeah.
Because it's wordplay, right? And it's
It is
fun.
wordplay.
It's fun.
And I like how it moves from the different drinks, the Shirley Temple to the Manhattan.
And it's a Manhattan, which is a man's drink.
Yes.
Yeah, but a Manhattan is just another name for a hat rack.
Yeah, it's clever.
Is that a saying? Because I've never heard that
No, I just
saying.
made that up.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm just going like, why is that?
And our friend
Well, if it was
who
a saying, then it would be a cliche.
died recently and got me drinking Manhattans. Downtown Shirley Brown, which was one of our cousins from Windsor, Ontario. She only drank Manhattans. So after visiting her and stuff like that, we started started drinking Manhattans at home, and I think it was the same time as I went into this bar and did this drink. So that kind of came around, you know.
I thought the name. I thought hat rack was a name for a sort of useless guy. You know,
Well,
a
it's
hat
kinda-
rack, right? I think I've heard that before.
I've never heard that before.
It's
Well, when
sort of a
people used to wear
slang,
hats,
right?
you know.
Yeah.
Back in
Just
the
a hat
40s.
rack?
Yeah.
When I was a kid back in the 40s, everybody wore a fedora. You know?
I know hats. I'm
saying.
trying to bring
Yeah,
hats
that's
back.
the
I
way
always usually wear a cowboy hat.
Yeah.
That's what my
Yeah.
my thing is, and we're, you
Well,
know.
you got the
straw
love
hat.
beads. You're working it.
Yeah, I got my beats from India here and all
Yeah.
that stuff. And,
Nice.
you know.
So you're still a hippie.
Yeah. of
Yeah,
course, yes.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like hippies. I've
Got my
always
ring
liked-
from India too. You know, first kind of bling I bought for myself ever, but I figured I got that far over there, I might as well buy something for myself.
So did you, when you were writing in India, were you influenced at all by the locals, or were you sticking to your own roots?
Oh, I'm influenced by the friendliness and then the food and the water and, you know, just the vibe of the whole thing, right? You know, I spent about a month there.
But you didn't start bringing sitar into your band, right?
No, but on a previous record, I thought about that
Alternate
for one
tunings?
of my songs.
Alternate
but-
tunings. Well, you know what happened to George Harrison, of course.
So it's basically from an influence of George Harrison,
Yeah.
of a song on the record, Songs for MeZZ, and the song is also called Something, which also harks back to George
Yes.
Harrison. You can check it out sometime.
We got a tweet in
Oh.
from Sharon. We're talking about the jokes. Speaking of jokes, what do you get when you play country music backward? You get your wife, your dog, and your truck back.
You get them all back.
That's a good one.
That's really good.
Okay, so you have the funniest joke tonight. Thank
Thank you,
you.
Sharon.
That's
Thank you, Sharon.
good.
I think we're going to go to Sharon instead of that book.
Yeah, we should. Just get her to tweet in the joke.
And you know there were
let's make a
no,
contract.
So, Peter, have you do you ever like work with other songwriters to sort of get?
I don't usually
Co-write?
I don't co-write. I've done it once or twice, and stuff have come out. But a long time ago, I'm not really pursuing that. Yeah.
Do you produce your own records?
I produce them, and I also have co-production as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
You got another set of ears in the room besides
Yeah,
the
the
engineer, or just the engineer?
no, two other producers for the last record. We call it the trifecta, which is James Paul, Burke Carroll, and myself produced this last record.
Cool.
I call Burke the missing link because he is the guy who knows that music from the 40s and 50s so well from his pedal steel guitar and the Bakersfield sound we're going for from Buck Owens and the Buckaroos. So Bakersfield, yeah.
We have an audience of budding songwriters out there all around the world. If they're
Yeah.
going into the studio to record, do you recommend them finding a producer person to be in the studio with them to make sure they're getting the best sound?
I think it's always a great idea to have another pair of eyes, and from my own personal journey in songwriting and producing records, is that every time I produce a record, I learn something more extremely valuable. My first record that was kind of big was put out by myself, but it had John Switzer. He was the producer of Jane Siberry, and he played in my band, and he played on the record, and David Ferry was the engineer from Apple Recording Studio in Stouffville, I believe that's where he's from. He just passed away just recently, a few weeks ago, from brain cancer.
I kind of wish I had had a producer because I had an engineer, but I didn't think I could afford a producer, so I thought, well, between the engineer and I. But the engineer didn't know how to bring out my best vocal delivery, right? And a producer would.
Yeah.
And now I understand what producers do. They really they hold you to task, right? No, you can do a better take than that, right?
And they also can help you sometimes rearrange a song. Like as a songwriter, you get a very clear idea of what your song should be, and sometimes with just a little bit of work, your song can go from good to being absolutely fantastic.
Yeah,
But you wouldn't know that, and sometimes it's hard when if you've never worked with a musician, like a producer, you'll sort of reduce that. You'll sort of you'll push against it. But sometimes you have to. If you get someone who's really good, I've just through forced gumpiness, I've worked with some amazing producers, and they just
Who have
make
you
stuff
worked
shit.
with?
I worked with Eric Ratz. He tracked, and Nick Blagono mixed a couple of things I did, and it's and you know, sort of smaller producers.
Nice.
But
nice.
they really will. They'll sort of say, "Well, do this," and you'll go, "That's a dumb idea." But
Yeah.
once you've go through it and you hear the other side, they'll fix that lyric, almost sort of say that, that line, that's just not strong enough. You need to work on that line more.
Right.
And that's a tough thing to do.
discipline line.
And sometimes you have to ignore the producer too. As
Yeah,
well.
sometimes.
If you
The
really
nice-
got something that is really strong, then you can have to go with it. Like on the last record, pretty well the arrangements in the songs were all done. Well, they were all done by me as a guide track. So we were kind of the ship had left the station or the harbor, and so we were locked into that. But I had such a very strong vision, and these guys who knew how to play within those lines, that playing field, and it was a very simple, straightforward getting back to my country roots, where it wasn't any other sort of pop or jazz or anything. It was very specific what we were trying to go. Hank Williams and Drifting Cowboys. I listened to a lot of Hank before their records, and I think Neil Young actually says before he listens to a record or Murray makes a record, he always goes back and listens to Hank Williams for the honesty and the and the integrity of
He's the master,
Yeah. I mean, because even for a song like Shirley Temple, like if I was to work on you with this song, like for instance, I would probably suggest, because in the verses you've got a sort of rhythm to the melody, and then in the chorus I would say keep the groove going the same, but half time the melody. So it's like better be here, like sort of pull out that melody and introduce a greater contrast in the chorus, right? And that would actually sort of make your chorus longer, and fiddle solo, and maybe that's it, and you're out and you're done.
Yeah, we were trying, if you look at Hank Williams songs, a lot of them are like 2 minutes and 20 seconds, 2 minutes and 30 seconds. This one fell somewhere in between there. It was a very specific idea to keep it short and sweet, just deliver it and get it over, and it was like done before you know it, and you're still thinking about it.
We did a thing. We were looking at older songs from the 50s and 60s. And early Beatles, and the standard pop song was 2:24.
Exactly.
It ain't 3:20 or even 3:10. Sometimes that's what. But radio friendly meant you're in and you're out.
Yeah. But when you look at those early Beatles songs, I mean, obviously it's a very different thing that they were doing, right?
Right.
But 2.5 minutes. That was 2 verses, 2 choruses, a middle 8, and a chorus out.
Yep.
And that was still 2.5 minutes. Like they blasted through stuff really
well,
fast.
Yeah.
And the changes were every 8 bars, right?
Yeah. Sounds great. Yeah.
And you didn't know you didn't need more.
Absolutely.
You didn't really need more.
No,
but they're also creating records by George
Martin.
George Martin.
Sir George Martin.
Who knew what length it should be for radio airplay, right? Because it was all about radio stations in those days. Not anymore.
Yeah.
Right?
We had a great debate when we did that one show. Was it the show about bridges or something? Was it 8 days a week? Or Hard Day's Night.
Hard Day's Night,
because it had that repeating middle 8 section that repeated twice. It's not in middle 8 anymore. It's a halfway through 8 and another 8.
It's a C section, I guess.
A bridgey thing.
Yeah, a bridgey thing that repeats twice. It's like, okay.
Right. So you're recreating a type of structure that was
very vintage structure,
right.
And
cool.
I didn't want to really stay away from it for that long. If you look at the last song on the right, Roll Down, it's really quite different, but it's the only one that kind of strays from that structure for the whole thing.
Where can people get your stuff?
Well, you can get it from my website, exactly PeteEastmure.com, or you can go to Bandcamp. You can look at it on YouTube. We've got the first single, which is Sugar Bush, on video. You can check it out, and you can get it. You'll be able to hear it on Spotify and Amazon and all the other music platforms around the world by next week. Yeah, so it'll be up and
so that's
running.
I'll tweet a link.
It's
Thank you.
Eastmure.
And the record is called Keep Your Love Steady.
Are you using CD Baby at all for?
I am.
That is,
Yeah.
I just found out, they have almost 999,000 members.
I'm one of them.
Yeah. And over, and they have like 9 million songs on record.
Yeah, no,
they're a huge company. I know they're huge. I had no idea they were that
They
big.
seem like they got the package figured out pretty well. So.
Yeah, they were the underdog in the beginning, right?
How have you found working with CD Baby?
I've They're fine. I have no trouble, and I have other friends who have used them, and sounds good. Most of my stuff is up on Bandcamp as well, so things come directly to me, which is nice as an independent artist. All the money goes directly into my account. All the thousands of dollars per week.
Yes.
I mean, decade.
Around decade.
Yeah. But mainly, CDs, music is sold from the stage still. That's where the most lucrative thing is, really. And to get your stuff on a digital platform, like, it's still the way the kids listen to it these days, right?
Yeah, it's true. Well, you can, people can actually find your stuff. Well, stumble across your stuff, especially on YouTube. YouTube's a good thing if you can just put a lyric or just a like a static image video up and then just have.
Well, we're going to do a lyric video for Shirley Temple because with the American Songwriter magazine, might as well get that out there. But we're doing one thing at a time.
But that's certainly a good thing for people out there to know, that if you want to support an artist, if you like an artist, you found them online or wherever, go to their show and buy their CD. That's the best way to support them.
Yeah, we just released the record, as you may or not know, at the Burdock Music Hall this past Saturday night, and it was a great show, and everybody from the record was there on stage playing, and we had a really great crowd, and we sent it off beautifully. And it was really fun.
Did you move any merchandise?
Well, I did.
Oh, good.
I sure did.
Sold some T-shirts?
Sold some CDs. And,
good.
Yeah.
That's what I found when I was performing for a short period of time years ago when I had my first CD out. It's my only CD. But I had my first CD out back in the late 90s and always sold a CD at every concert because people, they meet you, they like you, they want that souvenir, right? They go, would you sign it?
Yeah,
of course. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, no, that's a fun thing, and so that was really neat. It's good.
Oh, so what's next?
Next, I might as well do the announcement here.
Is this
heard it here first?
You heard it here first.
A break, a news break?
A little bit, yeah. It's a nice news break. I'm going to be doing a residency with the band on Tuesday nights in the front room of the Cameron Public House on Queen Street in the month of May.
Very exciting.
So, and that'll be really great with it's springtime, so I want all you guys to drop by at some point.
What time do you go on?
Early show from 6 till 8.
Perfect.
Yeah,
that's good.
Because
that'll be before your bedtime.
I can't stay up past 8.
Of course.
There you go.
We can't do it because if you do it on Tuesdays, we'll be on the air.
And right. Well, you'll have to put some fandom. You'll have to put on the pre-recorded show and come on down. Right? You know, like they do in some of the George Jones songs, right? Radio Lover. Do you know that song? Check it out. Check it out, guys. It'll give you some ideas. Yeah. So that, and then I'm going to be going on a summer tour. I've done the last couple of years the Western Campfire Tour, where I go out to BC and back. I played 23 dates last spring and summer, and then I did an Eastern Campfire Tour out into Quebec and Northern Quebec. And
so who sets this tour up?
I do.
Do you take other artists with you, or it's just your band?
It's just me.
Oh, a solo tour.
I do a solo, yeah.
You've ever done that via on board, like we take the train across Canada?
I've looked at that, yeah. I might do that at some point.
Yeah, we know of several people who have done that.
Yeah, I know our friend Orit Shimon, I believe her name. She goes on. She's like the largest traveler. She's done like 48 gigs on it or something. Right. And I think she lives on the train. She doesn't have a house. I know she doesn't have a house.
It's a beautiful train, actually.
She's got a nice little two-story caboose.
It is. Yes, lots of trees and rocks.
Yes, lots of trees and rocks.
Lots of trees and rocks.
Don't forget the lakes and in the mountains.
That's true.
Reference to Wendell Ferguson there.
And the Badlands.
Yeah, he played on my first record, The Smallest Voice. So with
very nice.
John Switzer.
Well, that's say it again. Cameron House, month of May.
Month of May, Tuesday nights. Come on down,
6 to 8,
with the full band, and we're going to do the residencies there every Tuesday. So
and you're in the front room, so you get the walk-in traffic.
Yeah.
The after-work walk-in traffic.
It's always fun there. Yeah.
I'm glad that they're actually doing shows like at 6.
Yeah.
Because back in the day they wouldn't start until 10.
Yeah.
It was just nuts.
Like they say 10.
I played Lee's Palace at midnight so many times.
There is somewhat of a movement afoot to like book shows at like 7 o'clock.
There is, and I think it's a good thing. Yeah.
Well, people aren't quite as drunk, so they're a little more likely to listen.
Well, especially on a Wednesday night, if you've
and
got
if it's a
kids
school
and the whole
night
thing,
and you got to get home with the kids, you can just do that before
or
you
get up and go to work.
And it's a
next
country
morning.
bar. I mean, it does a few things, but it's really known as a folk and country bar.
Yeah.
So it's really right up my alley. So I was really pleased to be asked to do that.
Used to be one of the premier punk clubs, though, in Toronto.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Oh,
Is that the band I hear?
It is.
The band is afoot.
It is the band.
Well, you know what that means, folks. When we hear the band, it's time to wrap up the show. So thank you very much from Song Talk Radio to Pete Eastmure for being here tonight.
Yay.
Thank you so much,
The
folks, for
crowd
having me.
goes wild.
Pleasure.
Send us your impressions via Twitter at Song Talk Radio, email at feedback@songtalk.ca, Facebook or YouTube at Song Talk Radio. Have a look. We've got a whole channel there. Or stop by the site at songtalk.ca. Subscribe today to the Song Talk Radio podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, or, you ready? Stitcher.com.
Oh, yes.
We're everywhere.
Stitcher.
Stitcher.
Stitcher,
And don't
okay.
forget to sign up for our free newsletter. It's free. Will there be a new one? I think the last one was in
Well, you never know.
2017. wasn't
Yeah,
it?
something like that.
That was last year. It's coming, so is Christmas. And you can find links to all the products, books, and web services we mentioned on Song Talk Radio, like Julia Cameron's book, on our resources page at songtalk.ca. And just another reminder, if you're in the Toronto area, drop by our Songwriters Meetup, Sunday, March 24th, 1 to 4 at the Transact Club. Great music for 30 years. It's free to join on meetup.com and free to attend the meetup. Stop by songtalk.ca for the link to the Songwriters Meetup. Thanks to Vanessa Vreeland on social media.
Thank you, Vanessa.
And on the tech board thingy, whatever it's called, Michael Proudfoot.
Yay, Michael.
And most of all, we'd like to thank you, the listener. You can follow me at bruceharrett.com, Neil at
NeilModi.com.
Vanessa at
Sunny_Vanessa.
Sunny_Vanessa, and Mr. Phil.
You can follow me at Phil Emery on Twitter.
And Pete, where do they follow you?
You can follow me on Instagram at Pete Eastmure. Instagram. You can follow me on Twitter, Pete Eastmure. Follow me on my website, peteeastmure.com. And Facebook, too.
Oh, you're everywhere.
Pete Eastmure and Animal Kingdom.
Okay, that's enough. And don't follow Michael. He wants to be left alone.
Yes.
Who was that famous actress who said, I want to be alone?
Marina
Greta
Dietrich.
Garbo. Marlena Dietrich. No, it was Garbo. One of those.
It was Garbo.
Anyway,
Okay.
stop by. We're running out of time. Stop by our website, songtalk.ca. Browse past shows. Find out how you could be a guest on our show. Keep on writing, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Good night.